Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to start with the session, and the topic is operators in Python. Right, so we have seen what is the importance of Python, why we are using Python. So let us start, let us begin with the session and let us check out what are constant first, what are variables on which these operators can be used. Right, so let us start with that. Constant, just a look to constant and variable. In the last class, we have studied about what are constant. Constants are the fixed values that are given to a variable, right? And it cannot be changed. It does not change throughout the program. So when you have some constant, when you have some fixed value, you need to define it as constant, right? And if you have any string constant, like your name should be printed or anything else, like it should not be changed throughout the program, some like default values are used as constant. So it should be like whenever a string constant is defined or initialized, it should be enclosed with single quotes or double quotes. So whenever we define string constants, so we need to enclose it with single quotes or double quotes, right? Like in an example, you may see a print any value, that is a numeric value 1 2 3. Then you have taken a float value, a decimal point number, that is 98.6. Then we have printed that part. And then whenever we have to define the string constant, it should be enclosed within a single quote or a double quote. That means the value, the message to be printed should be enclosed in a single or double quotes. Right, now let us move to this part, variables. In a variable is a memory location where you are going to store the value, and you can retrieve that value later on by using the variable name. So variable name is given to the location that is in the memory which is holding a value. Right, now let us see how we use these values. Like suppose I am going to ask, I am giving x is equal to 12.2 and y is 14. Now if it is defined as a variable, we can change the content of that variable in the later statements. Like here we have defined it by 12 by 2. Now in the third statement, if I am going to change the variable, the value of this variable, that is x is equal to any value, I can change it. Now in the memory location which has the name that is x, now it is not holding the value that is 12.2, it is holding the value that is 100. Now this is how variables and constants are used in a program, right? Now let us move to the next part. What are the rules? What are the rules that we have while defining the variables in Python? So it must start with a letter or number. We usually don't use numbers. We usually use name characters only. So it must start with a letter or a character or an underscore. So underscore is the only special symbol which is used for defining the variable name. Must consist of letters, numbers and underscore. So these three are only allowed for defining a name of the variable. What are those three? A to Z characters, like lowercase to uppercase. You may, because it's a case sensitive language. Let me give you one like example also. If you define it as like spam, X, these can be defined, right? Bad name is like whenever you have starting the variable name with some number. So it is basically, it is not at the standard and it is not allowed, right? And because Python is a case sensitive language, if you write spam, right, and the format of that particular variable name is different, that should be stored at different location as well. Like in the lowercase you have written spam, in the other example you have written the capital letter as S and then spam, then in the last variable name, that is all the capital letters. So it is basically these three variables are defined in the memory, right? They are not same, even the meaning, even the names are same, but because they each a character is to holding a different ASCII value in the memory, right? So they are treated as a different variable names as well. So this is why we call Python as an case sensitive language. The meaning of the variable names would be different if we use small character and if we use uppercase character. Now let us move to the operators. Once we understood that the very important term, that is reserve words, now it is you cannot use reserve words as variable names or identifiers or constant names, right? Now like suppose we are using and or not, if, while, or import, finally, print. So these are some predefined from keywords in the memory which are already stored there. We cannot use as the variable name. We can just like that. We can just use these keywords as they have their defined meaning. Like import. What is the meaning of import? Importing a file into your program. You are importing some packages into your program, right? Or you are including some packages into your program. So they have their different meaning. You cannot use it as a variable name. You cannot use it as a variable name. Okay, they are treated as keywords or reserve words. Now, sentences or lines. Now, what is this? Let us see what is variable, what is operator, what is a constant, what is a reserve word, right? So in this slide, the green color shows that the variable or a letter is a variable. The blue color represents the operator, and 2, 3, 4, whatever the value is a constant. And again, the yellow color are basically representing the reserve words. Okay, so this is a very good example of all the things that we have just revised. What are variables that are defined in a green color? X, and then operators, plus, minus, multiply, division, they all are operators. Then we have constant values which we cannot change throughout the program. So they are represented by orange color. This is just to make you understand like how we use these variables, constants, reserve words, and operators in our program, right? So this is an assignment. Equal to is an assignment operator, right? Which basically assigns the value. Like 2 is assigned to the variable that is x. Now something like is holding a value that is 2, and we are adding that particular variable with the value 2 again in the second statement, and then we are printing the x value of x. Now let us start with assignment statements. What are assignment statements? We assign a value to a variable using an assignment statement. I told you assignment operator basically assigns a value to the variable, right? An assignment statement consists of an expression on the right hand side. So we write any expression that should be given on the right hand side of the equal to sign, right? And the variable to store the result. So left hand side may we have variables, on the right hand side we have an expression. We have an expression, we have a value, we can have anything on the right hand side, which is basically used for evaluating the statement, right? Like suppose it is given x equal to 2. So 2 is assigned to x. And if we have expression part like 3.9 into x into then again blue color are representing the operators and green color is representing the what? Variables. And again the 3.9 or 1, they are representing the constants. So this is how we use variables, constant, even operators and variables. Now let us move to the next thing. If we say x value is 0.6, right? If we say that the x variable is a memory location used to store the value 0.6. So we define that x is equal to 0.6, right? Now let us place this 0.6 into this expression that we have used earlier, 3.9 into x. Now what is x? the x is 0.6. Now into 1 minus x. Now what is x? That is 0.6. Now first of all, we evaluate the expression. So in within brackets, it basically evaluated through right hand side to left hand side. So basically, right hand side, say if we move 1 minus x, then into x, and then into 3.9. This is how it works, and we get the value, that is x value now changed to 0.9. So it's a variable, it can be changed. So this is how an expression can be written. Now x is not holding the value, that is 0.6. Now x is holding the value, that is 0.93. That just now we have evaluated, because we have placed the value, that is 0.6, in place of x, and again we have derived the value of x, that is 0.9. Right. So in the memory location, we are replacing the x value from 0.6 to 0.93. Right. So once we basically we have to, you may say, right hand side expressions are evaluated and the value is given to the left hand side variables. Right. This is how we evaluate the expressions. Now let us move to the next part. What are operators in Python and how we use them? I will be showing you different examples through which you can find out like how expression is evaluated. We have already seen how these operators are used, right? So we will be using one by one each of them and executing them also, right? Now let us see some rules also. Asterisk is used for multiplication, double asterisk is used for power of any number, and modulus operator like percentage is to evaluate, is to calculate for the remainder part of a number, right? Like when we have sometimes we need to use the remainders. Now how we are going to use in computer? So modulus operator, this is called modulus operator, which basically gives you the remainder part of the number, right? So this is, I'm going to explain you one by one each of them, right? The first operator is addition. So you may see on the left hand side I have taken the value, that is x is equal to 2. So we are adding some value to this xx. Xs is already having 2. Now xx is plus 2. So plus is used as an operator and a constant is added to the variable, that is xx. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Now whenever you want to print anything, you need to use a print function, that is print command. So print is a keyword, and operators are also, like they are also stored in the memory. They have this special meaning in the memory, so you can't take it as, or you can't use it as a variable name. Now next statement is yy is equal to 440 into 12. So now you have taken the asterisk, that is basically meant for multiplication. Now you are multiplying these two values and getting the output, that is 5280. So this is how we have different operators in a program. Let us move to the division part. Now you need not have to have that kind of symbol of division, that is dot dot and in between you have a bar. So it is basically you are using the slash for as a division operator, right? So yy, whatever the value it is storing, like 5280 and division of 1000. So why it has taken 5? Because integer value only stores the integer part of the number. It don't carry the floating, the decimal part of the number. If you want to have decimal part of the number or the last part of that number, you may use the floating point numbers, right? It is treated as float. So I will be telling you in later slides also how to print the floating point numbers. Then we have modulus operators, like 23 modulus of 5. You will get some answer. So what is the remainder of that? Like 5 4s are 20. Now the remainder is 3. So 3, how to extract this 3? With the help of modulus operator, right? Then we have double asterisks. Now I told you double asterisks are used for what? Double asterisks are used for power, for showing the power. So it is showing basically 4 power 3. So 4 into 4 into 4. So you will get 64. Right. Now in this part, like I have shown you the working of modulus operator. Like we have 23, right? And we need to divide this 23 by 5. So 5 4s are 20, I told you, and 3 is the remainder. So now I want this remainder part to be printed on the screen. How I am going to print it? With the help of modulus operator. So these are the different operators that we usually use in Python, right? We may have different data types also, because I have shown you the basically the division part, and in division part we are not calculating the decimal point number. So in division, when we have to have a division part also, we may have to use another operator, double slash integer division, we can use it, right? Now let us take another example which has some input function. How to use input function, and I told you about the float data types. Let us see. Name is equal. Now you need to get the user's name, age and income. So there are three variables. The first is username, that is treated as a string. The second is age. Again, that is treated as a what? Integer. Then we have income. Income could be 35.6 or 35.7 like this. So it is a float. Decimal point number we represented with the data type, that is float, right? So let us see the first statement, that is name is equal to input. Now this input is a function. Input is a function to take the input from the user. Now whatever you are writing within this input function, that will be displayed on the screen as a message, like you can see in the output also here. Let me show you. So this statement basically, what is your name, right? This name variable is basically showing what this is the message. What is your name? Now you are giving the input to the this variable, that is Anthony. So it is going to print later on. It is going to display the data as the second variable name is age. Now in age, under age, you are treating it as that int data type. You are converting the string into int. By default, the input function takes as a string, right? By default it is taking as a string. Now you need to convert it into any data type, like this input is taken, this particular input is taken as a string value by this input function. Now you want this value to be taken as a integer one. So what you need to do is you need to convert it to the integer data type, right? Now whatever you want to convert it, like whether it is a integer, whether it is a float, you may convert it, right? With the help of what? With the help of the data types, right? Like if you want to convert it particular age, that is, if you take it as input, by default it is taking as string, but now you need to convert it into integer. The same thing, the next thing, you are taking a value and that is to be converted into float. So this is how we are basically, at the time of taking the input, we are converting the values as well into integers, into float, into, by default it is string, right? Now let us move to the next part. Now how to display it? We have already taken the value, right? We have already taken the input. Now I want to display it on the screen. How I am going to display it on the screen? With the help of print function. With the help of print function. So here the data is, again, this is treated as a message. Whatever you write in a double quotes, it should be, it will be treated in a string, right? Now print name and then name. So this name, this particular part is a message, and after this message give a comma and then write the variable name, whatever this name, whatever you are taking it as input in this variable, is to be printed under after this. So this statement, like name, now this statement name, you have taken input as Anthony. Here you have entered it Anthony. So now it is going to take it as Anthony. After this, you have taken the message, that is age. Now in age, which variable you have used? Age. Now under age, you have taken the value 20. Now this 20 is assigned to this age variable, right? Again, the next part, income. Now you have given the message, that is income, and comma with some variable, that is income. Now you have entered that income as 10,000, right? So you are going to have a 10,000. Now why it is appearing as 10,000.0? Why? Because we have to have a floating point number, a decimal point number, because we have taken this incomes variable as a, it is storing some float value. So float means you are having some decimal point number, right? So this is how we take the input from the user and how we define it. Okay, so these are certain steps that we use it in a program. Let us see what is the order of evaluation. What are the precedence of these operators? How the what is, basically it is very important, and it follows the same rule that is in mass BODMAS, right? When we string operators together, Python must know which one to do first. So when we have different operators in a single expression, now Python should understand, we should follow, we should evaluate this operator, then this, then this. So which operator takes the precedence over the others? That is order of evaluation, right? Like suppose I am giving an expression that is given as x is equal to 1 plus 2 into 3 minus 4 divided by 5, double asterisk is for power 6. Now how we are going to evaluate this expression, and what is the order, how to evaluate it, right? Now how to evaluate it? With the help of BODMAS only. Okay, now let us see one by one. Now what is the, I have one by one, you can easily find out like what is the precedence. First you need to open the parenthesis. Second, the power. Third, multiplication or division. Then addition or subtraction. And it evaluates from left to right. Why? Because it is the operator's precedence rules. Like let us read out the precedence. First we evaluate the parenthesis. Whatever is written in the brackets or parenthesis, first of all we have to evaluate that. Then we need to expand the power thing, like whatever is in the exponential of any number, then we need to solve that one. Then we have, yes, I told you, multiplication, division and remainder part is the third precedence. Then we have addition and subtraction, and it is, again I am going to tell you, it is evaluated from left to right. Why it is from left to right? Because it is following the BODMAS rules itself. Now let us see one example. This is given and you need to evaluate it. Let us see the steps how it is going to be evaluated. 1 plus 2 into, so I told you, first of all, the first step basically talks about what? The power part. The power part. So here we have evaluated with 8, right? And then after power we have, there is no parenthesis in this statement. After parenthesis we have exponential part, right? So here you can see the precedence also. First you have parenthesis. So there is no parenthesis, nothing should be evaluated. Next step, power. Yes, there is a power, 2 to the power 3. Now first step, what you have done, that is power, right? Then once you have done with power, you can apply for multiplication and division. So let us start with that. So you have divided 8 by 4 into 5. So this is the third step, how you have evaluated. The next part is, after this, once you have evaluated, what is the next step? Multiply, division ho gaya. Then move to the next part, that is addition and subtraction. Now what is addition and what is subtraction? Here subtraction is nothing, no statement, no expression that is showing the subtraction symbol. So directly jumping into the addition symbol. So 1 plus 10 is 11. So 11 is the answer, and 11 is the value that is assigned to the variable x, and now we have given the statement that is print x. So now under this statement we are going to print the value of x, that is 11. So this is how we use the operators in Python, right? And what is the precedence of that? Like we are using operators, but in which sequence, in which basically what is the sequence, what is the order of evaluation of this variables? So basically they have the order like this. First of all we have parenthesis, the second we have is power, the third we have is multiplication or division, the fourth we have is addition or subtraction, and the fifth is it is evaluated from left to right. So how it is left to right? Basically you are following the precedence, right? An expression is evaluated from right itself, but it is the precedence of operators, how we evaluate the expression from, like how we evaluate it using different operators. This is that thing, right? Let us see this part also. 1 plus 2 into, and this is asterisk 3 and divided by 4 into 5. This is another example. uh, yes, so let us see this part also. Note 8 by 4 goes before 4 by 4 into 5 because of left to right rule, right? So I want to explain you this thing also. We have studied, like at this level we have multiplication and division. At this point we have addition and subtraction also. Now what do you mean by left to right? Left to right means you are evaluating the expression from left to right. Whichever operator is coming first, we are going to use that only. Right. Now in this statement, 1 plus a divided by 4 into 5. This contains two operators that is of equal precedence. Division also and multiplication also. Now what to do? So basically the next funda is you need to apply the left right rule. Now from the left side, which operator is coming first? That is division. So we have to perform division first before multiplication, right? So now we get this a divided by 4 is 2, right? Now that means 1 plus 2 into 5. Again we already know this thing, plus has lower precedence than multiplication. So the next step would be 1 plus 10. Yeah, 2 into 5 is 10. So you will get 1 plus 10. Now the last is, there is no subtraction symbol, there is only plus symbol. So you are going to use the plus symbol with two operands, the two values, that is 1 plus 10, that is 11. Right? So this is how we have seen each of the operator plus the precedence of the operator, as well as the most important thing, what do you mean by left right rule? Right? That means if the operator is of equal precedence, how we are going to evaluate that expression, right? So, and double asterisk is used for power. Okay, so this is how we evaluate the expression and apply the left to right rule as well. So I think like from this example also you have understood what do you mean by the precedence of operator, and by the next statement you can easily identify what do you mean by left to right rule. Right, left to right rule means if the order, if we have two operators and that are of same precedence, that means what we have to do, we have to apply the next rule, that is left to right rule, for solving the expression. Right, so here we get the what, 11. Right, so this is how we use operators, and what is the order of precedence, what are variables, what are constants, what are reserved words. I think most of you have understood, all of you have, even because I have taken both the examples which clearly states what are the operators, how the precedence of operators are calculated, like how we are following this. And the most important, what is the left right rule? Because most of the people are thinking like we have the expression, we read the expression from right hand side in the assignment part. Yes, when we are using assignment operator, it is evaluating from right hand side itself. But if we are evaluating any expression, we will be using the order of evaluation, order of precedence. Right, and the precedence I have already shown you. First is the bracket or parenthesis, the second is the power, asterisk, double asterisk we are going to use for power. Then we have multiplication and division or modulus operator, remainder. Then we have addition and subtraction, and the last is left to right. Now left to right is what? The left to right rule that we have just seen in this particular slide, right? Now this is the basically this is how we use operators in Python, right? I think everything is understood from this slide. And then how to use this, I have already told you. It is from top to bottom. The first is the have the higher priority, whereas the other have the lower precedence than others, right? So hope you like the video. Thank you.